Later, ensconced in the quiet of her room, Chizaram's fingers danced over the keyboard as she searched for the event online. There it was, the webpage opening like the first page of a new chapter in her life. She leaned in, her determination mirrored in the glow of the screen, absorbing every detail, the time, the venue, the theme, united in faith. Pen in hand, she made notes, her script meticulous, a tangible reflection of the eagerness that coursed through her. She mapped out the days leading up to the event, planning, praying, envisioning a future where her path would intertwine with someone who shared her deepest convictions. With each stroke of her pen, Chizaram etched a blueprint of hope, daring to dream of what divine appointment might await her there. Chizaram stood before her wardrobe, her hands trembling slightly with anticipation. The soft fabric of various dresses flowed through her fingers as silent prayers whispered from her lips. "Lord, guide me," she murmured, seeking divine inspiration in the simple choice of attire. She selected a modest yet elegant blue dress that accentuated her warm complexion, symbolizing the tranquility she sought in a partner. With each brush stroke through her hair and the gentle application of makeup, Chizaram's reflection in the mirror solidified her resolve. This was more than mere preparation for an event, it was a ritual of readiness for a new chapter in her life. Her heart echoed with Proverbs 31, aspirating to be the woman of noble character whom her future husband would praise. The venue thrummed with the chatter of expectant singles as Chizaram stepped through the doors. A fluttering sensation coursed through her chest, akin to the flapping wings of a dove taking flight. Her eyes canvassed the room methodically, observing potential matches who shared in the night's purpose, finding companionship rooted in faith. Couples and small groups engaged in conversation around tables adorned with white cloths and flickering candles, casting a serene glow on all present. Chizaram clasped her hands together, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a drumbeat of hope and nervousness. With every breath, she silently beseeched God for clarity and courage to navigate the sea of faces before her. Chizaram's gaze drifted across the room, finally alighting on a man standing alone by the refreshment table. Luke, as his name tag declared, was average in height, but there was a quiet strength in his posture that drew her in. She approached tentatively, her heart rhythmically tapping a message of hope against her ribs. "Hello, I'm Chizaram," she said, extending a hand, which he took with a gentle firmness. "Luke," he replied with a smile that reached his eyes, "nice to meet you." Their conversation unfolded effortlessly, like two streams converging into a river. They shared tales of faith, of prayers whispered in the dead of night and the symphony of praise on Sunday mornings. With each word exchanged, an invisible thread seemed to weave them closer together, a tapestry of shared beliefs and aspirations forming between them. As they spoke, Chizaram couldn't help but notice how she looked slightly downward to meet Luke's gaze. Her mind began to race with thoughts of their height difference. She had always imagined towering figures from the scriptures, like David before Goliath, as embodiments of what a God-fearing husband might resemble. Could she reconcile this image with the man before her, who carried a different kind of stature, one of spirit rather than inches? "God truly works in mysterious ways," Luke commented, his voice rich with experience, snapping her back to the present. "Yes, he does," Chizaram agreed, her smile genuine but her mind still caught in a whirlwind of contemplation. She tried to refocus on Luke's warm presence, the authenticity in his words about faith manifesting in one's actions rather than appearances. Yet, as they continued to talk, a small part of her wrestled with societal expectations and personal preconceptions. Could she overlook the traditional ideal she held for so long? The question looked in her mind, even as the initial spark between them flickered into something promising. But it was in that moment of internal struggle that she remembered a passage from the Bible: "Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart," 1 Samuel 16 verse 7. Chizaram knew her journey of faith was also one of trust in God's plan and His timing. As she listened to Luke share his passion for mission work and the joy he found in serving others, she felt a warmth spread through her. Perhaps, she mused, true connection lay beyond the measure of a tape. Chizaram's heart swelled with a mixture of emotions as she bid Luke farewell at the end of the singles party. His words lingered in her mind like a sweet melody, wrapping her in a comforting embrace of shared values and beliefs. Despite the doubts that tugged at her thoughts, there was a glimmer of hope kindled by their conversation. As Luke offered to walk her home, Chizaram hesitated, her steps hesitant as they ventured into the night. She clutched her purse tighter, the lampposts casting elongated shadows that danced around them. The air hummed with an unspoken tension, a blend of apprehension and curiosity swirling between them. In a secluded stretch of the path, away from the soft glow of streetlights, Luke's demeanor shifted. His once warm eyes now held a glint that sent a shiver down Chizaram's spine. She felt the hairs on the back of her neck rise in alarm as his hand reached out to touch her arm, a gesture that felt more possessive than comforting. The night seemed to close in around her, the darkness becoming a cloak of uncertainty. Chizaram, Luke's voice was low, almost a whisper, but it carried a weight that made her heart quicken its pace. I can see how your faith guides you, how strong and devoted you are. She tried to pull away subtly, her instincts on high alert as she searched for an exit strategy. The gentle facade he had worn earlier now revealed a glimpse of something unsettling beneath the surface. Look, I appreciate your kindness, she managed, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. But I think it's best if I head home alone tonight. His grip tightened slightly, his fingers curling around her arm with an intensity that set off alarm bells in Chizaram's mind. She could feel a sense of urgency rising within her, a primal instinct urging her to break free from his hold. The night air felt charged with an unspoken tension, the shadows growing thicker around them as Chizaram's heart pounded in her chest. With a deep breath to steady herself, she summoned her courage and met Luke's probing gaze with unwavering resolve. I said I'll be fine on my own, Chizaram spoke firmly, her voice tinged with a steely determination that surprised even herself. Let go of me, Luke. For a moment, there was a flicker of something dark in Luke's eyes, a flash of displeasure at her defiance. His smile, once warm and inviting, now seemed to mask a deeper intent that sent a shiver down Chizaram's spine. She braced herself for a reaction, ready to push back against any further advances. But to her relief, Luke released his grip, his features returning to an unsettling calm that belied the tension still lingering between them. Chizaram took a step back, putting some distance between them as she watched him warily. The night seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with unspoken words and uncharted territories. All right, Chizaram, Luke said, his voice low but devoid of the earlier edge. I respect your wishes. I just wanted to make sure you got home safely. Chizaram nodded, a silent acknowledgement of his words as she turned to walk away. She could feel his gaze on her back, a weight that she shrugged off with every step she took. The path ahead seemed longer now, the darkness more daunting, but a quiet strength welled up within her, a strength born of faith and resilience. As she navigated the familiar streets towards her apartment, Chizaram felt a mix of emotions swirling within her like a tempestuous sea. The encounter with Luke had left an imprint on her heart, a reminder that not all who walked in faith did so with pure intentions. Yet, in the midst of uncertainty, the soft glow of her favorite scented candles greeted her, casting a warm and calming light over the space. With a contented smile, Chizaram sank down onto her plush sofa, feeling the familiar comfort of her home surround her. As she sat in silence, reflecting on the events of the night, Chizaram couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was off about Luke. His sudden appearance and persistent insistence on accompanying her had left her unsettled. But as she thought back to their brief conversation, she couldn't quite put her finger on what exactly had set off warning signals in her mind. Lost in contemplation, Chizaram barely noticed when her phone rang, its shrill ringtone breaking through the quiet of the apartment. She fished it out from her purse and saw that it was a call from one of her close friends. Hey Aisha, Chizaram answered with a warm smile in her voice. Chizi, how was your night? I missed you at Bible study. Aisha's voice boomed through the phone. I know, I'm sorry. I had some things to take care of, Chizaram replied with a small sigh. Well, you didn't miss much anyways, Aisha said with a laugh. But we do need to catch up soon. I agree, Chizaram said with a nod, grateful for Aisha's understanding. So how are things going? Aisha asked in a teasing tone. Chizaram shuddered at the thoughts of recent events. I actually met someone tonight, she said hesitantly, filling her friend in on the events of the day. Aisha's tone changed immediately. What? That must have been a terrible experience. I know, the absolute worst. Aisha was silent for a moment. Be careful, Chizi. I don't want you getting hurt. As their conversation wound down, the weariness of the day crept over Chizaram. She bid Aisha good night and settled into bed, her thoughts swirling as fatigue tugged at her eyelids until they finally closed in peaceful slumber.